Hush, hush, the soul of a gladiator. 10 years. 10 years he had reigned in this arena, his victories etched into the very stones that now echoed with the baying for his blood. 10 years of watching lives drain into the insatiable sands, his own soul hardening with every fallen opponent. He had been a tool, a blade honed by the emperor's will, reaping a harvest of death for the amusement of the masses. As Titus awaited his execution in the depths of the Colosseum, a strange peace settled over him. He had lost everything, yet in that loss he had found himself. The crowd might remember him as the lion, the emperor might remember him as a tool, but Titus would remember himself as a man who, in the face of death, had chosen to live. But Titus was no mere tool. He was a man, born free in the wilds of Gaul, until Roman steel had chained his fate. He remembered the verdant hills of his home, the face of his wife, the laughter of his children, all ghosts in the grand tapestry of his past. These memories, once suppressed by the need to survive, now clawed at his conscience, demanding retribution for the life he'd been forced to lead. Today was different. Today he wasn't fighting for the emperor, nor for the fickle crowd. Today, Titus fought for his soul. His opponent, a towering Germanic warrior named Brennus, was renowned for his brutality, a fitting final adversary for the Lion of Lugdunum. The crowd saw a spectacle, a clash of titans. Titus saw a mirror, reflecting the savagery he had embraced for so long. As the fight commenced, the ghosts of his past spurred him on. Each parry, each blow, was a lament for the life he'd taken, for the life he'd lost. He saw his wife in the eyes of the weeping women in the crowd, his children in the playful shouts of the young boys hawking food. And he saw himself, the monster he'd become, in the bloodlust gleaming in Brennus's eyes. The battle raged, a whirlwind of steel and sand, a dance of death under the unforgiving sun. Both warriors bore the marks of their trade, blood painting their skin, exhaustion weighing down their limbs. Yet, within Titus, a new resolve burned. He wouldn't succumb to the beast he'd been forced to become. With a final desperate lunge, Titus disarmed Brennus. The German stood before him, weaponless and panting, his eyes wide with a fear Titus knew all too well. The crowd held their breath, waiting for the final blow. But Titus, the Lion of Lugdunum, the emperor's blade, did something no one expected. He lowered his sword. Silence blanketed the Colosseum. Then a single voice pierced the stillness. A child's voice, echoing the question in everyone's mind. Why? Titus looked at the boy, then at the stunned faces of the crowd. "I am not a beast," he declared, his voice hoarse but strong. "I am a man, and I choose to die a man. Not a monster." He dropped his sword in the sand, the clatter echoing through the silent arena. The guards, confused and hesitant, eventually dragged him away. His head held high. He walked past the emperor's box, his gaze meeting that of the man who had orchestrated his life. In that gaze, there was no defiance, no anger, only a quiet dignity. The dignity of a man reclaiming his soul.